Okay. Shukar for joining us. Thank you very much. So even though we're not sitting together, Begashmias, but we're continuing the sugya, and this is a very important sugya, so I don't want there to be a break. Baruch Hashem, that we can learn it together with technology. Chazdei Hashem. Okay, I'm just going back a little bit in Siman Reish Samach Aleph Sif Dalet. And since we did already Sif Dalet, the most of Sif Hey, we'll just do it with speed. And then we'll focus on Sif Vav and Sif Zayin. Sif Dalet. Again, Siman Reish Samach Aleph Sif Dalet. If you're looking at the page, it's page Kuf Samach Ches. There's those that say that there is a mitzvah say to be moisef machel ala kodesh b'isar sis malacha b'knitzas Shabbos of Yom Tov v'tziyasam. When Shabbos comes in and out, to be moisef a little bit. Shenama v'nisam es nafshesechem b'tish ala kodesh b'erev me'erev aderev tishpushu shabbatchem. This is the Baraisa. Yochel yasach labisana metisha. Because it says v'nisam nafshecha b'tisha, I would think that he should fast on tisha. Tamad loymar b'erev at night. I b'erev yochel m'shatachshach. So it means by when it's dark. Tamad loymar b'tisha, because if it's dark, it's already day 10. Okay, so maschal masana meboid yoim. Mekan shumasifim machel lakodesh. Ein elo b'kniyosas b'tziyasam anayim tamaloma me'erev aderev. Just like what you did in the first erev, you have to do in the other erev. Ein elo yom kippur yom tev anayim tamaloma tishbetzu. Shabbos es anayim tamaloma shabbatchem. Okay, it's kol makom shenem hashvus masifim machel lakodesh malafnei lachera. Who's Yeshemrim is most of the Rishonim. We went through. On the Sikha, I'm happy that we're learning this, and we're also learning the Sikha. There's an unbelievable Geschmack of Sikha from the Rebbe, which we've done on Sunday. So, since we've done that Sikha, this ties in very well with that unbelievable Moire Marom de Sikha. Okay, the Rambam holds that there's no Tesefes. The only thing that there is on Yom Kippur, you have to be moisef with the Inuit, to fast a little more from before and after. But there's no such a thing according to the Rambam of Teisefes in Isser Malachim Achir L'Kodesh, not by Shabbos and not by Yom Tov and not by Yom Kippur. And we don't fast like the Rambam. Most of the Shonim don't learn that way. And the Pashta reading of the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah and in Yuma and the Mechilta and the Sifra and the Sifrei, they all hold that there has to be Teisefes Achir L'Kodesh with Isser Malachim. So how did the Rambam learn it? Whatever, the Rambam had a different way of learning the whole thing. Okay, continue. Zman Tesef Zemel Fanel, who metchilas hashkiya she'ein Hashem shniris al haaretz ad zman ben hashmoshes. This Zman of Tesefes is from the beginning of Shkia. What Shkia? She'ein Hashem shniris al haaretz ad zman ben hashmoshes kedei gimel bilam meriviyah. Again, before we start the Sif, I'm sorry, I just want to recap something. I know we're in the Sugya, but I just want to recap it again. There's a Machloikis Gioinim and Rabbeinu Tam. At this point, the Alter Rebbe held like the Rabbeinu Tam. For hundreds of years, the calendar was based on Rabbeinu Tam. And then there came two Gedolei Olam, the Alter Rebbe and the Gra, simultaneously. They didn't know of each other. That they both came out and said one day, listen guys, it's a mistake. The Goinim are right and the Rabbeinu Tam is wrong. What's the basic shita? Again, we went through in the Gemara, but summarize it one more time. The Gemara in Shabbos, the Gemara we learned, says that how long is Ben Hashmoshes? So we have the shita of Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Nechemia, Rabbi Yossi, and we're machmer from all sides. But the bottom line is that it's basically it's 3/4 of a meal, which if a meal is 18 minutes, so 3/4 of a meal is 13.5 minutes. But then there's another Gemara, the Gemara in Psachim, that the Gemara says that it sounds from the Gemara that from Shkia until Tzeisek Yechavim, a person walks 4 mil. So is it 3/4 of a meal or 4 mil? What's going on over here? So the Rabbeinu Tam said that, based on the way that Ran explains him, the world is not round. Don't make that silly mistake. The world is a disk. The sun when you see the sun setting, it's not going under your feet. That would be quite silly to think that way. It's going into a tunnel, and it's traveling above your head all night, and then the next morning it's coming out from a tunnel from the other side. So Shkia, when the sun sets from the horizon, the day is not finished. There's 4 meal, which is if a meal is 18 minutes, 4 times that is 72 minutes. At the end of the 17 minutes, bounce back 13.5 minutes, that's Ben Hashmashas. But the beginning of the 72 minutes, that's day. So why did the Gemara tell you that there's something going on if it's day? No, from when you see the sun set under the horizon, that's when you should start doing Tesefes Shabbos. That's when you should start doing Tesefes Shabbos. And if you want, you could do the entire 59 minutes, or you could do 15 minutes, you could do 20 minutes, as much as you want from that time you should do. That's what we're going to talk about here. The Gaonim had quite a different shitta. The Gaonim held that as soon as the sun sets, that's when Ben Hashmashas start. And that's what the Alter Rebbe is going to hold later. And then there's the shitta of the Yereim, which is even more than the Gaonim. The Alter Rebbe brings here the 2 extremes that have been Atam and the Yereim, and he ignores the Gaonim because he's writing the Shulchan Aruch here. Eventually, he's going to come to decide that Rabbeinu Tam and Yereim are both wrong and that the Gaonim are right, and not Mesofik. The Welt is thinking this way, that way, trying to be machmir this way in one way when Shabbos comes in, and the other way when Shabbos is going out. The Alter Rebbe paskin like the Gaonim unequivocally. Okay. With this at hand, let's read the Sif quick. Zman Tesefes u'Melafaneh. This Tesefes, when does it start? From the beginning of Shkia, Shein Hashem es niris al haaretz ad zman ben hashmashas. From when the sun, you don't see it until ben hashmashas. V'hu kedei gimel milen u'reviyah. Shemetchilas Shkia tzesek gimel kechavim u'mahalach dalad milen. ובין השמושס קודם צסק אחד מהלך גימל ריבי מיל נשארו גימל מילה ורביעי מתחיל שקיעת בין השמושס בזמן הזה אם רוצה לעשות כולי תוספת עושה רוצה לעשות ממנו מקצת עושה בבד שעושה איזה זמן שובה דיום מחיל על הקודש אבל בין השמושס אין נחשב לתוספת בין השמושס itself is not a תוספת שרי הוא סופק לילה ועושה במלאכה מן התורה בלעת מצוות תוספת but בין השמושס that's not part of the תוספת it's סופק לילה מן התורה you're not allowed to do מלאכה Minatoid, because it's a suffix to you. Minatoid, you're not allowed to do malachim. Sorry, just a minute. Okay. If he wants to do super early Shabbos, he can do it from Plaga Mincha. That means Plaga Mincha means from the Zman of Mincha Ketana to the night is 2.5 hours. Again, 2.5 hours over here doesn't mean in B'yomim Hashavim, in the perfect day in the winter, in the 2 ends of in the winter and the summer. I'm sorry, in the spring and in the fall. So when the day the day and the night is exactly 12 hours, so then an hour and a quarter really means an hour and a quarter, but the other days you have to adjust. An hour and a quarter can mean 45 minutes or it can mean 90 minutes. So we say from Mincha Ketana there's 2.5 hours till the night. Plaga Mincha is half that, cut that in half, that's an hour and a quarter before the night. An hour 60 minutes, and a quarter is 15 minutes. So that's a total of 75 minutes. So how many minutes more do you get from here to, if you want to be to Tesefes Shabbos? How many extra minutes do you get? 72 and 75? 3 minutes. You're getting an extra 3 minutes. Special for you that you want to be Moisef Machel al HaKodesh. We're giving you an extra 3 minutes. Yeshakayach. V'nesa b'asis malach. Avalim kibel koydem plaga mincha en kabbalah zeklum u'muta b'asis malach. Makom kan chatchili yishlach mashalaz malachim kibel shor avias manis. Koydem ashkia. If you're makabel, even an hour and a quarter before the shkia, There is those that say that from Shkia is Laila Gomor. That's Shittas Yereim, which is Mamish, the opposite of the Rebbeinu Tam. It's even worse than the Geonim. When you see the sun set under the horizon, that minute is Laila Gomor. It's Laila Gomor. It's not Suffolk Laila. It's Laila Gomor. ובין השמושה שהוא כדי הלך גמורי ומיל קודם תחילת השקיעה. Laga Mincha Ushor Via Zmanias is Koidem Tchilas Ashkia. So Plaga Mincha is an hour and a quarter before Shkia. Truth is, according to the way the Alter Rebbe stays, like the ornament also is that way. That we look at Shkia and we say Plaga Mincha bounces back from there. יש אנשי מייסה שעושים לך התחילת כסבור הזו שפרש מלאכת שור רבי הזמן עם קודם התחילת השקיעה אבל אם להר לכנר לספל הערבס של שבס you shouldn't light the candle and daven maitiv עד שור רבי הזמן שקודם צצה כחובן ולא שקודם תחילת השקיעה אפילו בדיעבד אם ידלק אז נר צריך לחבוץ על ארז להדליק לצריך שבס כמו שיסבור בסמר יש למח גימל that it has to be naked and the candle is lit like of a Shabbos. Chenim mispal צריך לחזר לספל אחר כך. שהאיקה כסבור ראשונה. The ikar is כסבור ראשונה like the first shitta. But then he changed his mind. Lepoil the Alter Rebbe decided later that like the Goinim. But Lagabi Plaga Mincha makes no difference. That the Goinim say that Shkia, when the sun dips on the horizon, that's when Ben Hashmashah started. According to the Yereim, that's when the Ben Hashmashah ends. But either way, according to the Yereim and the Geonim, when you want to measure an hour and a quarter, you bounce back from Shkia. So that stays the same. We have to do the math because Shabbos, we were talking about that this is Mana to Sefer Shabbos, and the 6,000 years is connected 6 days. And then the 7th is Elef HaShvi, is Yom Shekul Shabbos Menuch L'Chai Olamim. So the question is, there's a mitzvah to Sefer Shabbos. At when in this 1,000 years, so the shayla is how you split up the 1,000 years. You split it up into 12 portions or into 24 portions, and so then that would make a big difference to when Kilo is this man, Mashiach could come earlier, but that's what we're trying to accomplish. So for sure, the Yidden that are keeping Shabbos and bringing it in early and saying that an earlier time is the time to bring in Shabbos, David Shalal and there's Chus, that Mashiach will come extra early. And we'll go in to Yom Shekul Shabbos Manuch in an extra early time. Avav Misha in a Baki B'Shir Ben Hashmash is a person who is not he's not a Baki in the Ben Hashmash. Of any day MSA Yosef Alav, he doesn't know when to do the Safek Mechal Lakodesh. Tzarech Listalik Mekol Safek. He has to go away from any Safek. Lakabel Shabbos Har Bekedem Tchilas Shkia. He has to accept Shabbos much earlier than Tchilas Shkia, much earlier than Tchilas Shkia. Again, he's talking according to the Ben Tam over here, which is not that hard to do. V'lachen Yad Lekanedes Ba'oid Shashemesh B'Rosh Elonis. Well, it is hard. I mean, according to the Ben Tam, you're doing it so early because when he sees the sun on top of the trees, he shouldn't wait for it to dip under the horizon. When it's ready, it's about to dip under the trees. That's when he should accept Shabbos. If it's a cloudy day, when the chickens sit on the beams, on the rods, on the fences, so that's a sign that it's time to take in Shabbos. And if you're in the field, you should do when the ravens are sitting on the poles. We will explore this. And Bli Neder, there's the Alter Rebbe wrote a letter to Chassidim called Sedach Nasa Shabbos, and Bli Neder we will explore it very well It's not that long. It's the end of it's in the appendix to the Sefer. There is it's short. It's 3 pages, but it's oimik lifnei oimik. But bli neder, we will do it, and that will like round up the whole sugya. Bez Hashem Yisbarach. And there's a few more simonim I want to do, also to round up the whole. I want to do some Reish Nun Aleph and Reish Nun Vav. But okay. Yesh mekom es noigim alayim mizmer shirli Shabbos koydem baruch. U'amidas mizmer zeh mekablim to sefer Shabbos alayim. There is a places they have a minute to say mizmer shirli Shabbos before baruch. And through saying that, they're mekabel to sefer Shabbos. Even though our meaning is to say this mizmor, we do all the malachas until Baruch Hu. Because even though originally this thing of saying 6 kapitlach till is like a Kabbalistic thing. Every kapitel is connected another day in the week. We're elevating ourselves above the Sunday, above the Monday, above the Tuesday, above the Wednesday, above the Thursday, above the Friday. Then we sing Lechadoidi, which allows us to go into Mizmor Shirli Shabbos, which is connected Shabbos. So even though by now every Kehillah B'Yisrael accepted to say it, Shlomo Alkabetz only lived 500 years ago. But every kehillah is doing it now, and so some kehillahs accept upon themselves that lechadoidi should be considered Kabbalah Shabbos. Others accepted upon themselves that Mizmor Shirli Yom Shabbos should be considered. But the Alter Rebbe holds that we never accepted upon ourselves that saying lechadoidi should be the thing that accepts Shabbos for us. Saying Mizmor Shir is accepting Shabbos. We're preparing ourselves. Emes al pi Kabbalah, saying it is bringing in the neshama yeseda. So you can learn in 2 ways. First of all, you could say, listen, this is the Shulchan Aruch, this is not the Kabbalah. So very nice. Al pi Kabbalah, when you say lechadoidi and you sing it, the neshama yeseda is coming into you. But al pi nigla, listen till Baruch Hu is you are not yet ma'aseh machal ala kodesh. But even al pi nister, you could say, okay, so neshama seid is already into you, but you're still muter b'malacha. It's like an interesting blend. You can't pasken from Toras Anister to Toras Anigla. There could be that it's like a unique, special thing, kedusha, that's already kedusha. The neshama seid is already here in you. But wow, but it's like a blend of chodesh and chol. And before I get excited and carried away, I'll stop myself. But it could be something like a chol moyed type of kedusha. Wow, it's like chol and it's moyed and it's this and it's that. So you can't pass him from that. The bottom line is, the Alter Rebbe says we accepted to say Mizmor Shirli Yom Shabbos, and furthermore we also accepted to say lechadoidi, but we never accepted that as that with the saying the lechadoidi, with the saying the Mizmor Shir, that we should through that accept the Shabbos. No, we accept the Shabbos through saying Baruch. Okay. Great. I'll take a tiny break now, just so I could turn off the computer and turn it back on. And then I have a really juicy thing I want to do, a super duper juicy thing about Kabbalah's Tosefes Shabbos. Okay. I gave copies to parrots, and I hope you have the copy of the Ktsos HaShulchan. The Ktsos HaShulchan Siman Ayim Vav Seif Aleph. We will talk about. First, I want to read through it, and then we'll talk about Kabbalah's Tosefes Shabbos. It's a mitzvah seder raisa. Most Rishonim hold that way, and the discussion we're going to have now is: you must do it verbally to say Areini Mekabel Alai Tosefes Shabbos. We don't find anyone to ever write a nusach to say. But you could say, oh, look, because the communities used to say Baruch Hu way before Shkia. And maybe today, we should encourage that the davening of L'Chadoidi, Baruch Hu should be before Shkia, or something else. But the bottom line is, the Mishnah Berurah says that Tosefes Shabbos is not stam. It doesn't happen on its own. You have to say B'dibur. The Mishnah Berurah says, Harotza la soisoi, Sifkot Mechafalov, Hainu al Yidei Dibur, Shemakabel of L'Shem Tosefes Shabbos, then it is Baruch Hu. So the Mishnah Berurah clearly says that it has to be B'dibur. It has to be B'dibur. I want to examine this. I mean, the bottom line is, this is not Minig Chabad today. It's not Minig in all the shuls that are Mekabel Shabbos early. Okay, and Shkoyach for joining us. Take out the copies and give a look. Shulchan Siman Ayam Vav. Din Kabbalah Shabbos or Boy Vav Sifim. Sif Aleph. Yesh Mekayim es Neigim L'Kabel Shabbos Amiris Mizmah Shiur Yom HaShabbos. Umedinas Ashkenaz Em Mekabel Shabbos El Amiris Baruch Hu Shal Arvis. V'Amina Kayoim L'Kabel Shabbos Amiris Mizmah Shiur. The minik today is to do it through Mizmah Shiur, not like the Alter Rebbe said. Maplaga Mincha Ve'elach Yochel L'Kabel Shabbos. V'Shor Revi Zman is Kedem Shkia Sachama. Plaga Mincha is an hour and a quarter before Shkia. Rav Misha Kibbutz of Shabbos. Koydem Plaga Mincha in Kabbalah Zeklum Mutter Basis Malach. Okay, let's read the commentary in the bottom. The Badei Shulchan. Okay, say the Shabbos in Reish Chalef. Okay, Kosav Mishnah Berurah. Sifkot Lamed Aleph. The Prima Godam Aderech Chaim Kosav. The Mekayim Seinu Amina Kayoim Yad Shem Remizmah Shiur Makabel Matzib Shabbos Alayu. V'Osa B'Chol Malachas Afil Adan Yom Gadol. That's what the Mishnah Berurah brings. Because of a Sefer Derech Choch Moadim Mekayim Sheneg Alam L'Chadoid Masayim B'Ei Chala Kabbalah Shabbos Mamash V'Ayim B'Tei Sefer Shabbos Ad Kol Hashem. That's what the Mishnah Berurah brings. Even though the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah says that the Minig Ashkenaz is only to Mekabel Shabbos Baruch Hu, but L'Poel, it changed today. The minig is to Mekabel it either through Mizmah Shiur or through L'Chadoidi. Sefer Eretz Chaim maybe Malachas Ketanas Mekol Tzvi Godel. I'm sorry. Boy Chalav Kabbalah Shabbos. I'm a prima Godel Lemash Mekain. To give Gam Zman a prima Godel my Neigam Leimer L'Chadoidi. Ukemesh Kosav Veishel Avram. Simen Reish Samach Beis Simen Reish Samach Zayim V'Tov Peiches. Afa Pichein Kosav a prima Godel Mizmah Shiur Yom Shabbos is have a Kabbalah Shabbos V'Loi Boy Chalav. So he says L'Poel. The Prima Godim in his days, they said L'Chadoidi, and they still didn't consider that as part of Kabbalah Shabbos. Rather, they waited for Mizmah Shiur, and that's what they considered Kabbalah Shabbos. The This is that the Magen Avraham said that to us, Kabbalah Shabbos is only by Baruch Hu. Hainu Bizmano was in the day of the Magen Avraham. Shemus Palam Aravis Mebayim, because he said that when it was still daytime. The Malay Kain, Hamuchrich Lifresh Malach Kedem and Ashmashas Lutazef Shabbos. Ava Bishalam Aradaim Baruch. If in his days they used to say Baruch like today with most shuls, Shtibelach, that it's already way after Ben Ashmashas. So what are you telling me? Baruch Hu makes that you have to be Parish Malacha. So anyway, you have to be Parish Malacha. Elamai, they used to say Baruch Hu B'Oidayim Gadol when it was still day, and they were allowed to do Malacha until Baruch Hu, they were not allowed to do Malacha. Chimuchim Berabasim Tafayim Taf Kuf Nun Gimel Shayemrim Baruch Hu Kedem Nashmosh Chimuchim Beduch Tetuve. Fragmash Kazav Abak B'Dor Magen Avraham Simaration Vav Sifkat Na'al the Baruch Hu B'Makim Tkiya Shishis. And Koch the Hoyoimrim Baruch Hu Kedem Nashmosh, especially according to the opinion, we don't hold that way. According to the opinion that Baruch Hu is in the place of Tkiya Shishis. So just like Tkiya Shishis must be Kedem Ben Hashmashas, the Baruch Hu must be Kedem Ben Hashmashas. Lepoil, the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch says that no, that we don't have Tkiya Shishis. Tkiya Shishis, the Alter Rebbe holds is like Kabbalah Sitzumah Shel, and Baruch Hu is also Kabbalah Sitzumah Shel. But he holds that today we don't have such a concept of Tkiya Shishis. But there is a shita that Baruch Hu today is instead of Tkiyah Shishis, which makes perfect sense, and Lomdus. So obviously it has to be before Ben Hashmoshes. Mashma, the Hoyu Oimrim, Baruch Hu Chatzi Shor Kodem Alayla, which causes the Magen Avram Simaresh Lamadei, Sivkot and Gimel Sheim in Hagam, Lasas Malacha Be'erev Shabbos at Chatzi Shor Kodem Alayla, which Alter Rebbe brings it also. That until I have in Simaresh Tamachalav Sif Aleph towards the end, Sif Beis, I'm sorry, towards the end. Medivir Magen Avram Aloli Yisrael, Mashkos Ramot Simaresh Namvov, Sif Aleph, Lahachin Atman, Shabbos Chatzi Shor Kodem Samach Lacha Shabbos Dainu Kodem Alayla B'lik, because of Mishnah Berurah Dainu Samach Lashkiyas Achama. Okay. How much? Because having the little 7-9 Gimel about the Shulchan, Tzivkot and Yudala. Now, Magen Avram L'Shitose, the Pasuk Rabbeinu Tam, the Ben Hashmoshes is Gimel Milan V'Revia Achar Shkiyas Achama Alpnei Haaretz Adayin Yoin. Aval Didan the Peskinik as far as again Shetekef Achar Shkiyah Matzach Ben Hashmoshes K'mesh Kasav Neliel 7-9 Barav Sanim Spal Machat Tzezek Echavim Lakaporim Achar Shkiyah Us. We go like the Yoin. Usually we end up davening Kabbalah Shabbos after Shkiyah at least. And most shuls, way after that, probably it's already Tzezek Echavim. Rak Magdim Alayim Alachun Eran the Mizmashir Koydem Shkiyah. Al Korchich Tzarech Lim the Mizmashir Boy Chala have a Kabbalah Shabbos. Dim Loi came Beman the Kabbalah Shabbos. Kivish Borchu Aymerim Achar Shkiyah. We don't accept Shabbos. We don't say Borchu until it's most shuls don't unless you're Makabel Shabbos early. Even the people at Makabel Shabbos early, it's in the summer, but in the winter, by the time they say Borchu, it's not Ben Hashmoshes, it's V'nadei Laila. So how are you Makabel to Sefer Shabbos? It must be that we do it through Mizmashir or L'Chodoidi. Mizmashir. So according to him, every shul today that starts like Beis Menachem Mendel, that they start mincha 10 minutes after Lucha mentioned. So it's even if they by the second mincha finished, you started right away mizmashir. It's already too late. So we were not doing the mitzvah. Say we're all Rachmana Litzlan Avaryonim, and we're not doing the mitzvah of mitzvahs to Sefer Shabbos, according to the Avraham Chaim Noah. Okay, he's entitled to his opinion. He's entitled to his opinion. But the problem is he has an axiom, which is wrong. His axiom is that you have to Mekabel Shabbos B'dibur. And who told him that? The Mishnah Berurah. And who told that to the Mishnah Berurah? I'll read it to you for a second. I'm nishtoimim kishah choda that the Mishnah Berurah would say such a thing. The Mishnah Berurah says that Kabbalah that Sefer Shabbos Hainol Yedei Dibur must be through saying something. Shemekabel of L'Shem Sefer Shabbos are there. Baruch. Either he says Baruch or he says something. Hareini Mekabel Alai Mitzvah Sasei Shel Tesefes Mechayla Lakoidish. Okay. V'im Ha'an Mazeh Kabbalah B'Leiv. Maybe Kabbalah B'Leiv should help. Ein Lakamon Simen Tov Reish Ches Siv Gimel Bago U'B'Mishnah Berurah Sham. Look at Simen Tov Reish Ches. So I looked at Simen Tov Reish Ches and Tov Kuf Nun Gimel, and I realized the source of the confusion where the Mishnah Berurah got his din. Basically, I'll read it in the Alter Rebbe, but it's the same thing as reading it in the Shulchan Aruch. The Alter Rebbe says, a person stopped before Yom Kippur to eat b'yom Yom Gadol. It's in the Alter Rebbe Siman Tov Reish Ches Siv Zayin. Even though he decided he's not eating anymore. Because Dvarim Shebalev is nothing. But if he said with his lips that I'm not going to eat, why? It's a din neder. The loy machmas is a Yom Kippurim. There's nothing to do with Yom Kippur. He made a neder. A person could make a neder on Isru Chag. A person can make neder on Shushan Purim that he's not going to eat. He has a stomach ache from all the hamantash and the mashkas. He makes a neder he's not going to eat today. It has nothing to do with Yom Kippur. If he said a neder, you have to say it with your mouth. If you said you're not going to eat, you're not going to eat. But if you didn't say, you didn't say. Whatever dvarim shebalev and dvarim. When it comes to a neder, levate bisse fosayim, it says you have to say it with your lips. If you whatever you think is not a neder. You have to say it. If he was makabel the fast, if it was before Plaga Menche, the Kabbalah is not a Kabbalah, because you could only stretch the Kedusha of Shabbos and Yom Tov Yom Kippur yay much, not more. It's not stretchable. You could stretch it from Shabbos an hour and a quarter this way. So it doesn't stretch anymore. So it doesn't matter that you said that you want to be Makabel Shabbos earlier, you want to Makabel Yom Tov earlier, you want to Makabel Yom Kippur earlier. It doesn't work. You could eat. Because you didn't say that you're Makabel a neder not to eat. You're Makabel the Kedusha of Yom Kippur. The Kedusha of Yom Kippur, you can only be Makabel within an hour and a quarter to the night, which we today hold, l'chumra, like the shitta that the hour and a quarter goes from Shkia. You bounce back from Shkia. V'im hu acher plaga mencha. If it's after plaga, you're not allowed to do anything. Chutz min ilas sandal for a different reason. Shamnis bar Simon Tov Kuf Nun Gimel, which doesn't exist in the Alter B'Shachnarch, unfortunately. The Toivel Hachmer Ulahasnas Besuda Mafseka Shir Hashem Lecha V'Lishtus Oid Acher Asuda. That a person by Sudas Mafsekes, so the Bach and the Magen Avraham are very busy over here. They bring the Maril. The Maril says that once you eat the Sudas Mafsekes, you're not allowed to eat anymore after that. So, and it's a machloikis. So the Alter Rebbe says that a person should make a tanai that he is going to eat afterwards. He should make a tanai that he's going to eat afterwards. Because they hold that the Machmirim hold that because the minig is that Sudas Mafsekes is at the end, so that's Kabbalah B'Leiv. And they hold that this Kabbalah B'Leiv is a Kabbalah. So therefore, better to say befedish that you're not, because we really paskin the Kabbalah Shabbaleiv is nothing. But there is an opinion that says Kabbalah Shabbaleiv is a Kabbalah. So therefore, say befedish that you're not accepting the fast of Yom Kippur through finishing the Sudas Mafsekes. Oh, so we see there's a machloikis. There is what's the machloikis if you're allowed to eat after Sudas Mafsekes or not? One opinion there holds it's a machloikis of a Gedolei Achronim, the Maril, the Marash, the Gedolei Achronim, the earlier Achronim from 500 years ago are arguing. Some saying that Sudas Mafsekes makes that you have to start fasting now. Others said no. What's the Svaras Machloikis? You didn't say B'dibur I'm being Mekabel Atainis, but it's Dvarim Shabbaleiv because that's the common minig. So the question is if Dvarim Shabbaleiv works or not. So we see. So that's what the Mishnah Berurah is saying. So we see that Lagabe Tesefes Yom Kippur, there's a Machloikis, is if you have to do a B'dibur or it's good enough, Kabbalah B'Leiv. But I don't begin to understand what's the comparison. Ma inyan Shemitah Eitz al Har Sinai. I don't begin to understand what's the comparison. In Yom Kippur itself, there's two things. There is taking a neder, taking upon yourself a neder, not to eat, and has nothing to do with Isser, of Rechitza, and Sicha. That it's a type of neder you can do in Shulchan Purim. Incidentally, you're doing it in Erev Yom Kippur. And over there is a machloikis because a neder is levate b'sfasayim. You have to say it with your mouth. But there's a machloikis that could be that a neder could be b'leiv, and maybe not every neder, maybe neder Yom Kippur, and maybe neder Yom Kippur because it's a minig. Whatever. We'll have another discussion of the Manda Omer that says Dvarim Shabbaleiv Dvarim Lagabe Neder. Is it for all Nedarim, or only for this Neder and only this time, or all the times? But it's all a din in Nedarim, because Nedarim has to be B'dibur Levate B'sfasayim. But when it comes to who is talking about Tesefes Yom Kippur, Tesefes Yom Tov, Tesefes Shabbos, Tesefes Mechalal HaKodesh? Whoever said that has to be B'dibur? And if you didn't do it b'dibur, if you did it with machshava, there's not that the whole machloikas does not to do with that. And in Svara, there's a huge difference between a neder and Tosefes Mechayla LaKodesh. Huge. It's huge. Has to do also a little bit with the Sikha that we did on Sunday. That and Abema says I was thinking about this before I learned the Sikha, but then when I learned the Sikha, I realized I'm thinking in these terms because I'm learning the Rebbe Sikha, so the Rebbe is our Rebbe. Lama dereif chachmas kol chachmas mimenu. So we're thinking that we're trained to think this way. But I mean, it's sort of a pashut l'chayre. Neder is, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the world. There's no chiyuv to do it, not to do it. So in order for me to make a chiyuv, but the Eibishter would say, "Ein koyach koser poel." The Eibishter's machshava can already create. Me, I could think whatever I want from today to tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen. At least there has to be dibur. Dibur or ma'isa. Machshava is nothing, is zero. You can't create a new thing through machshava, a human being, a feeble human being. But Shabbos, the Kedusha Shabbos doesn't come from me, from the Eibishter. The Eibishter said, there's a mitzvah to say that I should increase the Kedusha of Shabbos. I should stretch it a little on this side and a little on that side. Who says that stretching has to be bedibur? I don't have to create a new thing. The Kedusha, I can't add or subtract from it. I just could add a little bit of time in either way, a little more in the beginning, a little more in the end. V'zeu. So I totally don't understand what's the dimyan. So and I want to bring something. What happened was that the Zama Moshe Drizzen came in and he brought me this beautiful dead head. And last week everyone heard he said this beautiful in the article. Maybe you should make a copy and post it somewhere, and you could all see it. It's really, really a terrific article. It's good to read. An interview with HaRav Yudel Krinsky, early years in 770. It's remarkable to read it. So here he writes that there was a time him and his two brothers were in front of 770. It was on a Friday, and they said, "Let's go inside 770 and see what's happening." And they walked in. And the Rebbe, which was then called the Ramash, said, I'm so happy you just came. We have 7, and we need another 3 for the minyan. It was on Beis Nissen. And the Beis Nissen is the Rebbe Rashab's yards. And the Frierdiker Rebbe needed a minyan for Mincha, and he only had 7 people. Wow. Could you imagine? I mean, if the Rebbe needed a minyan today, you would have literally 500,000 people there. Okay. So they went up to the Rebbe, Frierdiker Rebbe's room, and they davened. Whatever. I'm not going to ruin the description. You can read it. I'll read a little bit over here. We went to the Frierdiker Rebbe's room. First, the Frierdiker Rebbe said Karbonis, and then he began davening. It was very special. During Chazaras Hashatz, we were able to hear every word and every bracha. After the last Kadeshim, since there wouldn't be a minyan later, the Frierdiker Rebbe continued with Kabbalah's Shabbos until the end of Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos, and recited that Kaddish as well. With that, the davening concluded, and we left. It almost sounds Araya to Rabbi Avraham Chaim Noah. It almost sounds that, in other words, the Frierdiker Rebbe did Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos B'oida Yom Gadol. This was on Friday afternoon, Beis Nissen at 3:30. It's within Plag HaMincha. By the time they finished davening, it was 3:45 or 4 o'clock. So it's likely that it would have been, depending. I'm not sure actually. I'm starting to have even doubts if it was this man of Plag HaMincha. Okay, so this is already helping me. But let me first finish the problem over here. It sounds like the Frierdiker Rebbe was going with the Ketzos Shulchan. Okay, so Rabbi Krinsky says the reason he did it was because it wouldn't be a minyan later. Maybe he didn't know what the real reason. Maybe the real reason because if Frierdiker ever wanted to be makabel to Sefer Shabbos. Ay, 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 this is wrong. It couldn't be more wrong. There's a sikha from the Rebbe. I think it's Tavshin Mem Ches. Mem Ches. Let me see if I can find it fast enough. Let me see. Here. Oh, yeah, let's see. Phil Michel sent me this picture 2 weeks ago. It's Tavshin Mem Ches. Tavshin Mem Ches. It's a Sikha Shabbos Parshas Shalach Shabbos Shira Yud Aleph Shvat Tavshin Mem Ches. Right in the beginning, the Rebbe says, so basically Yud Shvat was on a Friday. The Rebbe says, Ulahar Ma'aminik Sefer Menhagim Chabad Sof Amud 79 Shemispal Tfilas Yortzat Omer Gam HaKadosh Alachem Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbos Ulahar Meshulchan Aruch Admei Razaken Shemispal Be'od Yom Mutar Latz Malacha Gam La'acher Amidas Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbos Mekim Shem Mekabel Sefer Shabbos El Ba'amidas Baruch. The Rebbe says, according to Minik Chabad, a person that has a Yortzat on a Friday, he's supposed to say all the Kadeshim that are Shaykh to Friday, not to Shabbos. So the Kaddish after Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbos, before Gegavna, is that considered Shabbos Dika Kaddish, or is that a Chol Kaddish? It's not a question, it's Meraf Senigr, it's not a Isa Skila or Kodesh, or Chiyuv Chattas, or Kodesh Ben Hashem Tolui, but still, Minig Yisrael Toirei, we have to understand, is this Kaddish Shaykh to Friday or Shaykh to Shabbos? The Rebbe says, Poshet, it's Shaykh to Friday, because we followed the Alter Rebbe, and the Alter Rebbe said that Shabbos starts for us with Baruch Hu. But wait a minute, the Alter Rebbe said that maybe in his time, because it's in the Shulchan Aruch, and he was then going to the Rabbeinu Tam, so they ended up davening early, and therefore Baruch Hu, when it was still Yom Oida Yom Gadol, and through the Baruch Hu Makabel Shabbos, but now that we're saying Baruch Hu later, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? No, you see, the Rebbe is talking about Zman Hazeh, Tavshin Mem Ches. We know the schedule in 770. And still the Rebbe is saying that Mizmor Shir, the Kaddish after Mizmor Shir, is not Shaykh to Shabbos because it's still Mutar B'Malacha. Obviously, to us it's already also B'Malacha, but not because we said Mizmor Shir and we're Makabel Itzum Shel Yom. It's a Malacha because it's already Bein Hashmoshes and it's Safek Yom, and maybe it's even Laila Mamish. But you hear what the Rebbe is saying. The reason why the Frierdiker Rebbe said the L'chadoidi and Mizmor Shir and then the Kaddish was because he wanted to maximize, it was his father's Yortzeit, the Mitzvah's Kibbud Aim, the Rebbe Shab's Yortzeit. So he wanted to say also the Kaddish, and maybe he wanted to, maybe tak it's true, there wasn't going to be a minyan later. But still, that's not the point. So it won't be a minyan later. So what are you going to do about it? But he wanted to say the Kaddish, because this Kaddish he didn't want to lose, because it's his father's Yortzeit. And this Kaddish is Shaykh to Yemoy Sachoil, not the Shabbos. And as icing for the cake, there's a letter here from the Rebbe. It's Chela Yigris Kedesh Chelek Tezvav, a Simon Shin Tzadik, Yidin Kvar Chabad, Rebbe Gabriel Kagan. Masha Kosev Oy the Shin Aseder B'Shir Limud Chassidus Be'erev Shabbos La'achar Amirat L'chun Neran of Kem Kegavna. So in the bottom it says that the guy wrote a letter to the Rebbe. Tov lefi koiten daiti l'hanik shekabel kol hatzibur es haShabbos b'mezmorim shel l'chun neranna. V'acher alimud yatzich l'tzibur tfilas arvin tzmiki gavna. K'mo she'oisim bebeis knesset Chabad she'b'Yerushalayim t'bona v'tekoina. He noticed in the Lubavitch Shul in Yerushalayim, by the way, the shul where the Avraham Chaim Noah daven, so that they start early l'chun neranna. They say Mizmor Shir, they finish Kaddish, then they sit down to Loch Chassidus, and then they say Kegavna. Maybe we should do the same in Kfar Chabad. The Rebbe says, Hine kefim ma shemetar b'machtov yesh b'zeh tzedodim chiyuvim tzedodim shlilim. There's a milus and chesaronis either way. V'tzad echad shelo yiskirei. There's one thing you didn't mention. Al derech ma'amar azal b'bnei nechnosim shemesh u'maschilim b'kegavna. That the Rebbe says that what's going to happen in Edel Averta, what's going to happen, or not so Edel Averta. The Rebbe says what's going to happen. The Alta Yidin and Kfar Chabad, they're going to come early. They're going to learn Chassidus. So the young guys, they're not going to come. It will come 50 years later. It'll become the Minik Chabad. We don't say Lechadoidi. We start by Kagavna. The old people, they whatever, they have a Minik Chabad. They say Lechadoidi or whatever. But we the young guys in Chabad, we start by Kagavna. The Rebbe said it's not, so therefore it's not a good idea. You know what? Make a vote with the Roiva Tzibur that Aloimdim and Kfar Chabad. They should decide. But if it was a mitzvah to be mekabel Sefer Shabbos, it's critical. It's a mitzvah sasei, and without mekabel the Tesefes bedibur, so the Rebbe is bringing in a consideration that the young Lubavitch will start by Kagavna. I don't know. I think it's pointing to that the Rebbe was not concerned with Kabbalah Sefer Shabbos bedibur. Which brings us to the first opening sentence the Alter Rebbe has in the Sedech Nosson Shabbos. The Alter Rebbe has a big chidush that there's 4 minutes discrepancy between what does it mean sunset? The scientists go with the horizon, but the Alter Rebbe proves from the Gemara that you have to be 1,700 feet above the sea level. So if you were standing on 1,700 feet above sea level, you still see the sun for another 4 minutes from when in the bottom they can't see it. The Alter Rebbe says these 4 minutes should be counted as the Tesefes Shabbos. It's built in Tesefes Shabbos. And therefore, by the fact that we're not doing Malacha, it's pretty clear, and the Alter Rebbe doesn't say, oh, but by the way, mention it B'dibur. The Alter Rebbe says that that's the built-in 4 minutes that's there for Tesefes Shabbos. So therefore, I don't think you have to be mekabel anything but dibur, and I don't think and the take well hopefully we'll do next week a tshuva from the Eretz Tzvi and the Sochet Shaver. One said that the Alter Rebbe meant you must have 4 minutes. The other one said a minute and a half, 2 minutes would have been enough. The Alter Rebbe meant 4 minutes. Why not? But 4 minutes is if we can do Tesefes Shabbos 4 minutes is better than 2 minutes. But you don't must. Bottom line is, it doesn't sound from the Alter Rebbe, you have to do it b'dibur. And therefore, Baruch Hashem, because most of Klal Yisrael don't know this trick, that sunset is not by the horizon, it's by Empire State Building. So all the calendars are by going by the horizon. So there's a built-in, so everyone, Baruch Hashem, is doing the mitzvah saseh, and maybe they're doing a behidur godel, because instead of a minute and a half, they're doing 4 minutes. And Baruch Hashem, it's all good. Okay, David shall helfen the Susa Tesefes Shabbos that we should have Tesefes in the Shabbos in the Yom Shekule Shabbos Amanuch L'Chayei Olamim.